Welcome to the AA Sports Podcast, minor league feel with major league discussion. Here are your hosts, Alan and Alan.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to the AA Sports Podcast. We are your hosts, Alan and Alan.
Hey, guys.
Welcome to this next episode,
Episode 2.
Yeah, it's already in. We're already messing up. But I think first we have to touch the subject of Kobe Bryant.
Kobe.
It is a sad, all 9 lives that passed away, but Kobe is that special athlete that you see once in a generation. And growing up, pretty much becoming a Lakers fan because I was a big Shaq fan, watching for the last 20 years him play was magical. And the mentality of grinding and the stories of him being in the gym at 3 a.m. and all day, and it's just magical. And the last couple of days of him being the dad, that's his big focus. And the worst part about it is losing his daughter with him, which had a possibly great career in front of her because she wanted to be in the WNBA.
Yeah, she wanted to go to UConn. She wanted to play in the WNBA. I mean, there was a lot of hope there. I feel so sad for these guys. I mean, Kobe's only been 3 years removed from the league, hasn't even had a chance to enjoy retirement. It's still shocking to me.
And especially this year with his daughter getting him back into basketball, going to games, and he's been coaching. Like, it looked like he was having a great time coaching. It's a little very sad. And then him growing up a baseball fan, a Mets fan, which was shocking being from Philly.
That's crazy.
Like, you had the Phillies. I understand they weren't the greatest, but his favorite player was Darryl Strawberry. Apparently, it hit Darryl really hard now because he kept, every time he saw Kobe, he's like, "You're my favorite player." So, please. And then the coach, the baseball coach, the other daughter, and it's just all around sad situation. So, rest in peace. I don't want to go into too much details, but just have that Mamba mentality. Like you said, the biggest thing is not the how you get there, is the how. Like, the grind is your favorite part. And
yeah, the biggest thing I'm taking away from this, I mean, it's so sad, but just a reminder that life is short. So you might as well go swing for the big ones.
Yeah. So we're going to talk into some breaking news this week, and then we're going to touch on 3 positions, our top 10 right now. But at first, we talked about last week the 3 managers losing their jobs. 1 position has been filled. The other is rumored to be finalized the next day.
Yeah, it's in the books, basically.
Yeah. I think they got their man. We're like 3 weeks away. So first, we have our Mets new manager,
Luis Rojas.
We are hearing great things about him, that this was probably going to happen, and I'm even more excited now for the season.
Yeah, I felt like, when Carlos Beltran was named manager, everybody was like, okay, that's cool. But when Luis Rojas was named manager, it was a completely different atmosphere. I mean, players were excited.
Yes. Like, Stroman was the first one. Like, he's like, I love this. Like, he loved talking to him. He was a very minded coach, and he's even more excited this season. Like, a lot of our players grew up in the system with Luis. Like DeGrom, when he came back from his first Tommy John, it was like he was one of his first coaches. Pete, like, how he's grown with all these players, they're ready to play for this guy. They're ready to go to battle. So
yeah, I mean, I know one thing that Luis Rojas said, it's already different from what Carlos Beltran was saying, is he's saying nobody's position is set. Yeah. I mean, I know last year Diaz struggled, and I mean, I know Carlos Beltran was ready to enter 2020 with Diaz as his closer, but Rojas said he's not committing to him as a closer. So, yeah. I mean, he's already making changes.
Yeah, so he already has the mentality of going into the season. Now he's the man. So he already said they've been down in Port St. Lucie getting ready, so it's not like he's going to miss a beat. The coaches with him were there, so it'll be a quick transition, I feel like, going to position. So, and
all
then,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's move on to talk about Dusty Baker in the Astros position. What do you think about that?
I think it's a safe, solid hire. He's going to be the oldest manager in the league, but his last 2 years as a manager with the Nationals, he won the division each year. If I were correct, like, I have it where he won 192 games in 2 seasons.
That's amazing.
So you can't really argue. The biggest thing with him is his postseason record. He has 23 wins and 32 losses in his postseason. He only went to 1 World Series and, of course, lost to the Angels in 2002.
Well, I mean, this is his chance for redemption. I mean, he's got a good team behind him. If he takes him to the playoffs and fails, then, you know, that'll be a legacy. But it's good to get a chance to see what he can do.
And the biggest thing is people are like, he needs a ring. Technically, he has a ring as a player, not as a coach. So it's definitely going to be interesting. I feel like in 2 years, I think it's going to be just like Luis, where it's a 2 years plus options for Dusty. I don't see it going too much longer than 2 years.
Yeah, especially with his age.
Yeah, and then in Red Sox, there's been no information, no news, so they're taking their time.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to rush it. They're going to have specific people in mind, but I mean, at the end of the day, they want to make the right decision.
Yeah. So we're gonna move on. We're gonna talk about our trade this offseason. Finally, the rumors milled Starling Martin is going to the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, I mean, I like Marte. I mean, the Diamondbacks seem like they're being aggressive this offseason. I mean, they've had Mad Bum. I mean, they got Cole Calhoun, and now they got Starling Marte. So, what do you think about the team right now?
So they're playing in the NL West, which is going to be interesting. Of course, Dodgers own that division. Diamondbacks were right there in the wild card, so they have a young team now. So I do like what they're doing. Marte's I don't say he was a safe bet, but he's been
consistent.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what you're getting with the guy.
He's older, so they're like he's going to start falling a little bit, but
all right. So with the addition of Marte, do you think the Diamondbacks are going to win over 84 games this year?
I'm right there. Probably 86, 87. They still got to make one more move, or someone needs to step up, like Carson Kelly, the catcher.
Somebody has to break out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens with that. And it's funny with the rumor with the Mets, they wanted Nemo and a top prospect, but the 2 prospects they got are not even the top 100 prospect list this year that just came out.
Who do they got?
One's going to be Benin Malone. He was the 33rd pick last year.
Okay.
He's a pitcher. And the other one's a 19-year-old shortstop from the Dominican Republic. I'm not butchering this kid's name. So they said he's potential, but the 4 on the top 100 for the Diamondbacks were neither of these. They said he'd be the top 10 for the team, and then $250,000 in international money is going to the Pirates.
Okay.
So, and then we have a free agent signing with the Reds.
Yeah, Nick Castellanos. He signed with the Reds.
Ultimately, I feel like it's going to be a 1-year deal. It's a 4-year, but there's a 1-year opt-out. So I feel like if he's betting on himself, he has a great year, he'll opt out, try to touch it again, but
if not, he's got that backup, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I mean, yeah, there's not much to say right now with the Reds. I mean, time will tell.
It's a definitely weaker division.
Right.
So I think that's why they committed going in. Because Cubs, we don't know what they're doing yet with Chris Bryant. Milwaukee, they should be right there. I don't see anyone else really. So Reds, with all the additions this year, I think they're committing, just like White Sox in that weaker division.
Oh, yeah.
It's their time. They save money.
The time is now.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
So, but 64 million over 4 years is not bad.
That's not bad at all. Nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah. Then let's talk about another trade. Mookie Betts possibly to the Padres.
Mookie Betts to the Padres. I mean, that would be interesting.
And apparently now Red Sox are more ready to trade him, is what came out
Yeah,
today.
I've heard they're ready to deal him. The deal has to be right, of course. But
yeah. To what people are hearing, Will Myers is like the main piece. 2 younger major leaguers, and then a prospect. And what people are hearing that's the holdup is money that Will Myers are owed.
Okay.
He has 3 years, $22.5 million a year. Red Sox want Padres to pay about half. Padres just want to pay a quarter of it.
That sounds like they're pretty close, though. I mean, that's
Yeah.
not too far off when you think about it. I mean, if they really want Mookie Betts, I think they're going to find a way to make this happen.
And I think why the Padres are kind of wavy on the deal is that Mookie's under contract for one more year. So we'll see like how or like what happens with that. So what do you feel like with the DH coming next year to possibly the NL?
Well, I'm not going to lie. I like that we don't have a DH right now because I like pitchers who rake.
Yes.
I mean, I can't get over it. Like when Bartolo hit a home run, I just went nuts. I mean, you got guys like Greinke who can rake. DeGrom can show flash. Strasburg. It'd be sad to see these guys lose it, but I understand because I know the MLB wants the faster pace and they want more action. And if you throw a DH in there, you're going to get somebody who's going to hit and not an automatic out. So in one sense, I'm going to miss it. It's going to be nostalgic to me, but in the other, I think it's a good move.
I think so too. And that ways veteran players don't have to go to the AL.
Right. They can stay in the NL and
Yep.
have a job.
Yes. Especially like, for example, Mets, Robinson Cano eventually could be the DL, get a younger guy at second. It's that possibility. It wouldn't surprise me if it happens.
Become a DH.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Okay. It just opens the doors for so many more players to get an opportunity to play.
yeah.
I mean, you got guys who are probably raking in the minors, and they're not getting a chance because there's no place for them because most of these guys are outfielders or something like that. But it'd be another chance to bring somebody up who can show what they got.
Definitely. So, and then the breaking news about the ump's going to be mic'd this year is nothing's. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it's just another reason for us to get to boo at them whenever they give us a call we don't like.
Yeah.
It's nothing crazy.
And then the most interesting with the umps is during spring training, they're going to try the robo umps and then, of course, minor leaguers. We'll see how that. I'm very interested to see what it is, how it's framed. Are they going to tell the fastball? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how I feel about this yet. I'm waiting to see what it comes of it. I get the idea. I like it. It just makes everything, especially for pitchers, a little bit harder to do. But I get it because there's so many missed calls. I mean, they could make or break the team. They could break the at bat.
Yeah, definitely.
I've seen some terrible calls, and you got to believe I'm yelling at the TV like, "Are you kidding me? Everybody in the stands can see that pitch, but you."
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I mean, technology is advancing, and MLB is trying to keep up.
Yeah, I'm totally for it if it makes the game better.
Right.
So, time will tell. I'll say if it does well, and then the minor leagues does well, I think 2 more years we might start seeing it in the majors.
We'll see.
I think it's got to be definitely with the next collecting new
The collective bargaining
yeah,
agreement.
I think it's in 2-3 years. So
Okay.
yeah. Let's talk a little Mets news.
All right, Mets news. Woo!
Da 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 da.
Well, the first thing I'd like to bring up is that today I just got notification who the Mets are going to be inducting into the Mets Hall of Fame in 2020.
Yeah, it's the first time in 6 years that someone's going in. So with 3 names, I'm okay. The people, I know you're probably on the fence with some of them.
I am. So the 3 people getting in right now that they already told us are going to get in is Edgardo Alfonso, Ron Darling, and John Matlick. We're going to touch on each one of those right now.
Okay. Ron Darling, of course, the voice, the person in the Mets, been with SNY since 2006.
Yeah. I mean, he played for the Mets from 1983 to 1991. He was an all-star in 85, part of the 86 World Series team. Like you said, he's a commentator on SNY. In 1986, it was his best season, I think. He finished 15-6 with a 2.81 ERA. And his record during his time as a Met is 99-70. 1 All-Star appearance, 1 Gold Glove. But is that enough to get inducted into the Hall of Fame for the Mets? I mean, he did spend his best years as a pitcher in a Mets uniform.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't know. I mean, he did win a World Series with us, and he did pitch great while he was a Met. But I don't know. What do you think?
It's probably definitely deserving based on the player and then now the voice. Like, this is like his 25th year with the Mets organization.
So you think it goes beyond being a player?
I think so.
Okay, well, if you look at it like that, I can agree. I'm just strictly looking at his stats as a player and thinking about the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. I definitely think that it's definitely got to be both. I think if Ron's going this year, where's Keith?
Right.
So that's what's a little throwing me off. Why not both of them this year? So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So the next guy is Edgardo Alfonso. I mean, we
Fonzie.
we both love the guy. I mean, we grew up watching him. I mean, he was part of the run when we went to the World Series. I like the guy.
Yeah.
But is he Hall of Fame worthy? I don't know.
Yeah. It's definitely a little weirder since they didn't bring him back as a coach last year in the single A. He took the team to the championship. They won, and then they didn't bring him back. He's still with the Mets as like with a front of house kind of like position, but he does rank first in Mets postseason history with hits, runs, RBIs. He's top 10 in history in hits, runs, doubles, RBI. So as a Met, yes. He won the Silver Slugger in 99, All-Star 2000. He became a fan favorite.
Had a couple of years with the MVP votes. Yeah, I mean, I get it. Okay. I mean, I can justify that.
Yeah. The last one, I didn't know the name when the name came out. I'm like, who's this person?
Well, because he's way before our time.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's also like Rookie of the Year 72. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Right.
Definitely don't know this guy.
This guy, John Matlick, I mean, he was drafted 4th overall in 1967 with the Mets. But, you know, his record as a Met is 82 and 81. And I think he finished his career 126 or 125 wins and 126 losses, I think. So he's about a 500 pitcher. As a Met, though, he was a 3-time All-Star. He did win the Rookie of the Year. His career ERA is a 3.18, which is better than Steve Carlton as a lefty, who was considered one of the best lefties of his generation. And then another stat that does pop out to me is that while he was a Met, his WAR, wins above replacement, was a 26.6. That's pretty good. But what do you? I mean, have you know anything about this guy?
Like, yeah, like pretty much what you said. Like Rookie of the Year, he leads the team in complete games, ERA, strikeouts. He led the National League in shutouts in '74.
Well, look, man. I mean, if we're letting every Met who had some success into the Hall of Fame, I got a suggestion. I think we should let, if this is how we're going, I think we should let Patrick Mahomes Sr. in. Pat Mahomes, I mean, even though he mostly pitched as a reliever, as a Met, he went 13-3 with an 81.3 win percentage, and he had a 2.25 ERA in the postseason as a Met. Hey, man, anything's possible.
Right. For being 3 years since, 6 years since anyone's gotten in, we figured we definitely wouldn't see anyone in the Mets Hall of Fame, we'll say next year, with David Wright. That's a lock.
I hope so. I mean, captain's got to get in.
Yeah, definitely is going to happen to get in. So, they're with being 6 years, they're definitely being choosy. But with the Wilpons possibly leaving, who knows when the new owner will start approving, like, yes, Hall of Fame or this number is being retired. So it's going to be very interesting once the approval of the sale is finalized, which people are hearing is opening day, and how. The whole 5 year thing, I really don't think it's going to happen. And I'm sorry if I paid $1 billion for a team, I'm earning my team that day.
Exactly.
So we'll see what happens with the Mets with the new ownership and how the future holds with this retirement and Hall of Fame.
All right. I mean, and now that we're still talking about the Mets, there's one thing I wanted to bring up. I heard that ESPN is close to dumping their Mets advisor, or our Mets advisor, and their analyst, Jessica Mendoza from Sunday Night Baseball. I mean, do you think this has anything to do with the Mike Fiers comments?
Probably, yeah. I almost certain. Like I think it was on First Take, I think, or something they talking about. And come on, it's an argument sports talk show. There are going to be arguments, and and she probably said what players are saying, that it's an unspoken rule. Like, I agree that, yes, you went to Oakland. Hey, guys, look for this. I
Right.
was on that
Absolutely.
team.
You've got to be a team player.
And the rumors, other people knew kind of what was going on in the Astros, so he just brought it to light. I understand it needed to happen because it was cheating and all that stuff, but the comments were probably a little too much, and I see where they're thinking about viewers. Like, I'm not going to watch this girl if she's going to be commentating. I feel like it might be
Right, but do you think that if she was a guy and said the same comments that she'd be getting this kind of heat?
I don't think so.
That's what I'm saying, man. I mean, I know she's the first female TV analyst on that show.
And she just breaking barriers for them and stuff. And they're saying between that and that she is technically trying to be biased because she is an employee of the Mets. So it's like, if I was ESPN, like, look, you got to be committed to one or the other. Like, I know we're talking about all of baseball. You technically do work for the Mets part-time as an advisor. Like, I don't want you to be biased. Like, you got to be ESPN, be safe for all teams.
Right, and just so everyone knows, I mean, this is a rumor. I don't think it's been confirmed yet because Jessica Mendoza, as far as she knows, she says she still has her job. Nobody's informed her.
Yeah.
But I also heard that they're still expecting to keep her on in a major role, just not on Sunday Night Baseball, I believe.
Yeah, I don't feel like it's going to be like she'll make appearances and not going to be where it's like, oh, it's her and A-Rod every Sunday. It's going to be like she might do this game, or it might be where she only does Mets games.
Right.
Like, who knows what they do.
So who's going to be sitting with A-Rod?
I don't know. Like, I don't know who I'd want. Like, who's out there who's going to take a chance? Like, it'd be very interesting if they pull the move, who they're going to bring in.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Because with them canceling Sunday Night Baseball as the show, like, who was up there? Like, who could they plug in? Because since then, a lot of players and stuff go with the MLB network. So,
Well, hey, Carlos Beltran's looking for a job.
it is a possibility. Like, was surprised that I feel like they might, what they do is like, or like radio show hosts at first when people leave, like, Ryan and Kelly. Like, when Strahan left, they started like playing different people, testing them out.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that could be happen this year. It'd be A-Rod and this person, see how they work together. I feel like part of the season's going to be like that if they do decide to move on from her.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So do you got any other news for us right now?
I don't really have anything else. Rumor mills going on is really, waiting to see if Red Sox move Mookie and what kind of coach they bring in with being even closer now to spring training. Like, it's got to be someone internal if they don't make a move soon, or that the new GM there is taking his sweet time, doing his research, want to bring in his guy. I want to set up the team where he's thinking about, let's go full rebuild mode. If they trade Mookie, hit 1-year deal, like, do we think we're going to re-sign him? Because I think he set the record for most arbitrage money, like, this year. Like, he's going to want $30 million a year.
Well, it also depends on how he performs this year. So they're in a good position to negotiate.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, with that being said, let's get into it. Let's get into our top 10 players at each position.
Yeah.
In today's episode, I believe we're going to go through 3 positions.
Yep.
We're going to go through starting pitchers, catchers, and first base.
Yeah.
All right.
I think it's the easiest to go then. And then next week, we'll probably go the rest of the infield, and the week after, we'll do outfield.
We'll play it by ear, you guys.
Yeah, so we're going to start starting pitchers. So I'm going to say my 10. Do you want to say your 10, or we're just going to talk about the player?
I mean, we can go through our top 10 together, or we can go 10, talk about it, 9, talk about it. It's up to you, man.
All right. So number 10, I have Walker Buehler of the LA Dodgers.
Okay, you got him at number 10?
Yep.
I actually have Walker at number 4 on my list.
Oh, wow.
I do. And you want me to tell you why?
Well, I know he had 215 strikeouts last year, a 1.4 whip, ERA of 3.26, and 14 wins. It's not bad for your second full year in the majors.
Yeah, man. I mean, like you said, he went 14-4 last season. I think his ERA was a 3.26, but the stats don't do him justice. I mean, this guy has plus stuff. He could potentially be a Cy Young in the Cy Young conversation. I think if he can be consistent, he can definitely be in the Cy Young.
He could next
contention.
be Dodgers next Clayton Kershaw. He could just be that replacement. I feel like
Walker is my dark horse in the pitchers right now. He's my dark horse. That's the guy I'm going with.
I knew that's when I put him at 10 because I'm like, he's right there. There's probably other people you could probably be that tier line, but I'm like, he's right there. That's why I wanted to, when you hear my rest of my list, my other positions, I'm thinking about future, not like.
Me too.
The catchers, some people are going to be pissed at me when we go over that, but right now I'm like, Walker is the future.
Speaking of people being pissed, hey guys, if you guys want to chime in, please send us a message. Let us know what you think about our picks. Let us know who you think should be there. We are definitely interested in hearing some feedback.
Yeah. So who do you have at number 10? If you
At
had
number
Walker
10,
all the way up at 4.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, that's my dark horse. I wrote it right here, dark horse. So at number 10, I got Zach Greinke. I got a soft spot for pitchers who rake, like I said, and Greinke is no stranger to hitting the long ball. He got a silver slugger last season, batted .271. He hit 3 home runs. That's why I like the pitchers and not the DH, but at the same time, I'm with it. Let the pitchers do their job, bring in the guy who can hit. Pitching-wise, I think in 2019 he went 18-5, had a 2.93 ERA. He also had 24 quality starts.
Yep.
He was an all-star the last 5 out of 6 seasons. I know he's getting a little older, and that's probably why you don't have him up there. But I expect another great season from this year.
He was definitely borderline in my list when I was creating it. I'm like
Teetering, right?
He's like, I like Walker a little better right now.
Yeah, man, I agree.
And it's gonna be interesting with Greinke this year because it'd be full season back in the AL. He's ultimately going to be the number 2 since Garrett Cole had moved on from Houston. So it's going to be Justin Verlander and then Zach Greinke. He had a great postseason with Houston, so I definitely feel like he's going to have another great season. It's ultimately like you're not really losing too much in Garrett Cole, but he's a solid third starter if Garrett Cole would have stayed there, and it was that second half after they traded for him.
And that's being a third starter.
Yes.
Zach Greinke, that's nothing to sneeze at. I mean, that means their first 2 are crazy
I
good.
remember when
Number 1 at any other team.
when Clayton and Greinke were together in Dodgers, it was just like, oh.
And I just want to touch base because I told you guys he had 24 quality starts. And if you don't know what a quality start is, according to the MLB, a starting pitcher who records a quality start when he pitches at least 6 innings and allows 3 earned runs or fewer. A starting pitcher has 2 jobs: to prevent runs and get outs. The quality start statistic helps to qualify which pitchers did qualified job in those 2 departments. So just for some clarification, you guys might want to look it up just so you can understand what we're talking about.
Yeah. So, go ahead and say what your number 9 is.
All right, man. My number 9 is Jack Flaherty.
Okay.
The first half of the season, his ERA was a 4.64, but he ended the season with a 2.75.
Yes.
The guy was unhittable the second half.
Yep.
His ERA in the second half was a mere 0.91, and that's good enough for 4th place in voting for the Cy Young Award.
Yes.
I like this guy.
I do too. I have him at number 7.
Number
on my
7. Okay,
list.
so we're not too far off there.
No.
What do you think about the kid?
Very ace potential stuff. Great for the Cardinals. And a lot of people believe that he was Cy Young worthy his second half. It did get close.
If it wasn't for the first half, he might have locked it up.
I'm just imagining what his ERA would have been if he didn't have that terrible first half.
He'd have been on DeGrom status.
He would have been DeGrom from
he'd have
last
been up
year,
there,
the
yeah.
previous year, where it was ridiculous. Like, even though you weren't on a great team,
Yeah, he finished with a 2.75. Just think about the first half. I mean,
if you
these
start
numbers
with
would
a
have been
4,
unreal.
like, he probably could have been sub 2.
He was almost
If
at
he had a decent 3.
right.
Let's
He was
say-
close pushing to a 5 ERA. Yeah, he'd be
Yeah.
down there, man.
So definitely great potential with 231 strikeouts. The whip at .97, like it's one of the better whips in the league last year. And for having a terrible first half, that's astounding. So we'll see if he can keep it up this year, full season. I think that's exactly what he can probably do. If you look at DeGrom, is you got better the season, now you got to do it the next season. And if he can prove it, he'll definitely be in that Cy Young talk next year if he definitely keep it up anything like he did second half.
Right, and just so you guys know, when Alan says whip, he's talking about walks plus hits per inning pitched. So it's a measurable stat. It's for pitchers. It has allowed how many base runners the pitcher's allowed per innings pitched. So it's a pretty good measure to see how it indicates a performance.
Yeah. And with like only having 11 wins, like we've seen with DeGrom pitch where it's lights out, but your bullpen or something happens late.
Right. Wins don't mean a lot to me. I mean, I'm looking at all the other statistics. I mean, because like you said, DeGrom is the perfect example of
2 years
why
ago,
wins shouldn't
like,
matter.
Why, no.
He's not getting any run support. If you're doing your thing, it's only so much.
With DeGrom, when they put the stats up, if we got run support, he could only been a 20-something win
right
that year. So,
and
it's
we're
things.
talking about a guy who had a record of letting people score or 3 earned runs or less for I don't know how many games it was right off
like
the top.
20 or something.
Right. I mean, just
ridiculous.
amazing.
All right. Well, my number 9 is Charlie Morton.
Okay. What do you?
He's been solid. 240 strikeouts last year. 1.03 WHIP. He had an ERA of 3.5. 16 wins. So a solid year. Definitely helped the Tampa Bay out a lot.
Right. So you got this guy at number 9, right?
Yep.
You don't have any concerns at him being 36 years old?
He's been consistent the last couple of years, and I feel like he is going to start taking that toll here soon, the next 2 years probably. But being in Tampa, I feel like it's doing good for him.
Right, and especially in Tampa. I mean, you're in a tough division, and for a guy to pitch this good in that division and also be an all-star the last 2 years, he made the second team, all-second team this year. So yeah, I mean, the guy has good stuff.
Yeah. All right.
So we're going on to number 8, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so at number 8, I got Shane Bieber. Is he even on your list?
Nope.
Okay. Sorry. Excuse me. All right, so Shane Bieber, I mean, he's an all-star in his second season. The kid's a beast.
Yes.
He was drafted in 2016. He's been fast-tracked to the big leagues. I think he's been killing it ever since. Yeah. Last season, he had 259 strikeouts and 214 innings pitched. His WAR last season was a 4.9, and he went 15-8 and finished 4th in the Cy Young voting. I think this guy's up for the discussion for the Cy Young again this season. He's got a ton of upside, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's committing to this year, full year. If he can do it again, as love these young pitchers, we see the older players playing these young pitchers not missing a beat coming in. Definitely, he's gonna have a great year and
especially playing in Cleveland. I mean, they had 93 wins last season.
And I think that's why they traded
right.
Corey
Kluber.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they feel like he's potentially can be the ace and step in. And
I absolutely think he can be the ace there.
And depending on that division, that team, what they do with Lindor, it's definitely how that team's going to function the next couple of years.
Look,
but
man,
he could be that bright spot for that team in the future.
That division is going to be something to look for. The AL Central for sure.
That's why I think White Sox are definitely Cleveland. We don't know what they're committing to, and it wouldn't surprise me if Cleveland decides to go full rebuild mode and have him be that centerpiece.
I don't know if they're ready to go full rebuild mode. I mean, like I said, they had 93 wins last season. They're still trying to get it done.
They are, but my thing is we can tell if they decided to trade Lindor.
All right, fair enough.
Because they know they're going to have to pay him.
Oh yeah.
I think he has one more year after this year. So you're
talking so this is the year.
Shortstop.
This should be the all-in year.
That's what
or trade the team away.
If they have a terrible first half, he can be traded at the trade deadline because you can. This will be your most time because you get a push the second year and a full year of Lindor.
I can't wait to see what happens during the trade deadline.
Especially now with the whole September, this year being the last year where everyone had to be traded early, it was definitely interesting. So my number 8 is Clayton.
Clayton Kershaw. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, hey man, I like him. He didn't make my list unfortunately this year.
Yeah. He had a decent year. He was hurt part of the year. He only had 189 strikeouts this year. Still had the whip at 1.04. He had an ERA of 3.03 and 16 wins. He's still there, solid Clayton.
Yeah.
If he was healthy, who knows what his stats could have been. So
right. I mean, well, we all know if he's healthy, Clayton's going to pitch great. He's still in his prime. He's just 31 years old. I mean, he's a beast. I mean, he might not be getting it done as much in the playoffs, but the guy is worth it. I mean, he's getting paid $31 million this year.
Yeah.
He better perform is all I know.
Yeah.
And he usually does. I don't have anything against Clayton.
And
he
if
just missed my top 10.
Remotely healthy, they'll be winning that division again.
Absolutely.
Especially with him and Walker, those two at the top of that rotation. And then that bullpen is solid. That's why they've been to the World Series and were World Series favorites going into the playoffs last year. So we already talked about my number 7, Jack.
Okay.
So who's your number 7?
Yeah, my number 7 is Steven Strasburg.
Okay.
I like what he did last year. I mean, he had a great 2019, solid numbers. His ERA was a 3.32, which is pretty good. He had 18 wins. He came up big in the postseason with 5 wins and 6 starts. They weren't even supposed to make it past a wild card. This is crazy. Yeah. I mean, his ERA in those 6 starts was a 1.98. As far as I'm concerned, I mean, he's pretty solid for the Nats, and he's going to keep doing it this year.
Definitely. you can tell he's definitely ready to be that ace. Max is definitely getting older. I had Steven actually at number 5 on my list.
Oh wow, okay.
Because you don't get paid $250 million for being a number 2. Like, you're potentially an ace. Just unfortunately, you have Max Scherzer right there in
That's
front
what
of
I'm
you.
saying. Lucky for the Nats, they got 2 aces. Anybody would be happy to have those guys.
Exactly. Like, it's definitely a steal. He wanted to come back. I wouldn't be surprised if he went to the Angels. Being from California,
Oh
I
my
was
God,
like,
that would have been amazing.
I felt like it had to be Cole or Steven going to Angels. I feel like they wanted one of them. Unfortunately, they didn't get neither. But because Strasburg is that guy.
Well, yeah, maybe Strasburg wants to be like Ryan Zimmerman and stay with the team his whole career.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a popular thing to do. I mean, loyalty, it gets you a long ways. Look at Derek Jeter. I mean, people love him for it. Cal Ripken. You can't make that stuff up. The captain. Come on, guys.
And the funny thing, I think it was Strasburg, part of his contract was letting him work out early in the off season, make sure that the door's always open for him to work out. I'm like, so he liked the organization. I think he wanted to test the waters. Is his first time be able to fully test the waters because he committed re-signing when he was still a rookie. So it's like, let me test the water, see what's out there. He probably did talk to the Angels, possibly going home and the Yankees, but also he loved an organization, just won a World Series, so why not? If the deal wasn't like too much more money, like why not? Like,
yeah, I mean, if it's pretty similar. And like you said, man, loyalty. Like the Nationals took a chance on him. I believe they drafted him first overall, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they drafted him first overall, and then they got Bryce Harper the next year. I mean, come on, or a couple years later, I don't remember, but
it was I think the next year.
All right, all right. Enough about Strasburg. Who do you have at number 6?
I have that very talented rookie from Atlanta.
Which one are we talking about?
Mike Soroka.
Okay, all right. Let's talk about it. He's not on my list.
Not on the list. Okay. Yes. He only had 142 strikeouts, WHIP of 1.11, but his ERA was 2.68, and he had a total of 13 wins.
Okay.
He's definitely one of the top prospects where the Braves are just loaded with prospects. So he's definitely the ace now in that organization. I think it'd be great for him with having Cole there with him this year. Cole Hamels, since they signed him, like being that veteran player, I think he like that farm system in Atlanta with pitchers is loaded. So that's why it wouldn't surprise me if they did trade because they have the pitching prospects with Max Fred. But Mike is definitely a very talented. That's why he finished second in the Rookie of the Year vote.
You're right. I can't argue with you there. The kid's 22. He made the All-Second MLB team last year. Like you said, he was an All-Star. He went 15-5 with a 2.79 ERA. I mean, that's pretty amazing. And like I said, our division, the NL East, isn't nothing to sneeze at unless you're the Marlins fan, But hey, you're right.
Jeter has a plan with them, but
I'm sure he does. I mean, first of all, he had a great plan. He got rid of Giancarlo Stanton, and like I said, you can't have a guy paying him $300 million for him to sit during the World Series or playoffs. I mean,
like you can unfortunately look at that outfield Miami when he got there, the 3 stars with Ozuna,
Yelich. I mean, whoa,
Stanton. Like it
Who
was a
thought?
founding blocks for that organization. But understand the pay they need to cut to save money to figure organization out because Miami probably wasn't the best place to have a baseball team. But he's going to figure it out and fix it. So, but yeah, I just think Mike, if he continues like this year, he's going to be in that Cy Young discussion. Like, yeah, you're second behind Pete's amazing season as a rookie. If it wasn't for Pete, he probably would have been Rookie of the Year.
Well, yeah, and like you said, in the Cy Young discussion, I mean, he placed 6th in the voting this year, and he's a rook.
As a rookie.
Yeah. Hey, Rook, go get it.
Like, you're talking about like Mike Trout when he was a rookie, he's coming in like that. If this kid keeps growing, like, might have something to worry about with DeGrom, like, 2-time title. Like, looking at him like, this kid might be something, especially the way Atlanta stacked their team. They're going to win again.
Well, that's good. Like I said, if this guy pitches like he can, that'll just light the fire under DeGrom to keep doing what he's doing. So my number 6 is Max Scherzer. So I got back-to-back Nats. We all know who Mike Scherzer is. I mean, he's a guy who has a green eye and a blue eye. He's like a fine wine, man. He gets better with age. Last season, he came with 11 regular season wins, but he still had an ERA under 3. I expect him to pitch well and have similar seasons or similar numbers that he did last season. Probably better. Definitely. I mean, his wins are probably going to get better than last season. I think he had a little bit of injuries he was dealing with. He takes care of that.
Definitely a few starts.
Right.
It was the first time in his career, like missing some time. I have him still at number 4. Like, you're still runner-up for Cy Young. Like, even having a down year. Like, he's just that special, like especially in the postseason. Like you thought, like okay, he's been injured, he has been doing good the last couple weeks. I think I would go Strasburg, and he went out and did his thing. Like he's the other main reason why they won the World Series because he was ready to pitch.
That's
like,
one
no
of the
matter
best
what.
pickups they've had in recent years. I
I remember when that news broke, especially being in the division. I'm like, are you kidding me? 300 million, like this out of nowhere. We like you didn't hear Nationals till like that morning. Like we're hearing Nationals from Max Scherzer. I'm like, why? And then news broke, and now we face him multiple times a year. But like he's getting older, but he still has that gas. Like we talked about before, like it won't surprise me if Max gets the opening day start in New York and then Strasburg gets the opening day start in DC.
Oh yeah, that makes sense to me for sure.
Yeah.
And guys, don't get it mixed up. I mean, me and Alan have these guys on separate parts of our list at the top 10, but any person in the top 10 can easily be the number one.
Oh, especially the top 4. Like when I started doing my list with Max at 4, I'm like, it's like who do I put here? It was definitely a coin toss almost. So it's like because how great these four are for me. So yeah, so Max is mine for number 4. I know you had your number 5. So, but
no, Max is my number 6. And you're number 4. So now, yeah, let's go to number 5. Who do you have?
I had Strasburg. We already talked
Strasburg.
about him.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I got.
So I had mine back to back, but I had Strasburg at 5 and Max at 4.
Okay, yeah. So we're right there. I mean, we're pretty
Yeah.
close. My number 5 guy is Hyunjin Ryu. Dude is a beast.
Yes, he had a great year, and he didn't make my list mostly because I'm not wondering what he's going to do in that AL East.
Right,
With the Blue
and as a
Jays.
Blue Jay. Right, I get
That's
it.
the only thing I was like he had a great year last year. His injuries probably there at the end, and a couple bad starts cost him probably the Cy Young because he was definitely, and then DeGrom worked his way into it last year. But
Yeah, like you said, I mean, I like the guy because he's a lefty. I'm a lefty. If you guys don't know, he's a lefty who led the MLB in the ERA with 2.32 in last year. He led the MLB in the ERA category. And he finished the season 14-5. He had 22 quality starts. It may not have been very impressive in the strikeout category with 163, but he's definitely a pitcher that any club would be lucky to have on their staff.
oh yeah, definitely when it was taking for a while for him to sign before the Blue Jays, I was kind of confused why Dodgers didn't really sign him. Like they still need a pitcher now. They still haven't signed no one. I'm like, so with Clayton and Walker, like Ryu being that third guy,
That'd have
like,
been
why
a wrap.
not?
It'd have been a wrap.
Like that's why y'all did it. And who know what if he was healthy, what your stats would have been at the end of the year last year. But he's definitely a solid pitcher. I'm very interested to see how he handles the East. And if he stays healthy and has a decent season, it's gonna be very interesting for the Blue Jays with that young team. Adding a pitcher like him, if he anywhere close to what he was last year, Blue Jays might make some noise in that wild card talk. Because we don't know what the Red Sox are committing with, if they trade Mookie, what they're going to do, and then are they going to start talking about trading other pieces like Adam Vinatieri with the Red Sox? It's like we don't know what that GM's going to do because they don't have a manager yet.
Yeah. I mean, to stay competitive in the AL East, you got to make moves.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to you, Orioles. You guys got to make moves.
Orioles, we'll see you in like 5 years.
Right.
But we'll appreciate you building your team here in Norfolk. We'll see your top prospects, which their catcher they drafted last year is the number 2 prospect this year. So
Do you think he's going to take over Chance Cisco? Or
yeah, I think Chance he needs to step up this year, and with already drafting him, Chance is going to go elsewhere. I feel like when watching this teams, they had players blocked, they had to trade them, and like Christian Walker, he finally got traded. He's the starting first baseman for the Diamondbacks last year.
Yeah,
so
man.
It's gonna be interesting with the Orioles. See their rebuild mode. Like they finally got the GM like a right position. They're drafting a bunch of pitchers and hitters, and it's the only time to tell in that division.
Hey, if any minor leaguers are listening to this and you're playing for the Orioles farm organization, make sure you come talk to us. We're locals.
Yeah.
All right. So I believe we both went through our number 4s. Right? Didn't you say you had Strasburg?
Yeah, because
and I had Walker.
So yeah.
All right, so just to touch base again, I had Walker Buehler and Allen had Steven Strasburg or Max Scherzer?
I had Max Scherzer.
Max
at 4.
Scherzer at number 4. Okay.
So now we're at 3.
All right, so who do you have
So
number 3?
Okay, these 3. How hard it was for you to place?
Oh, actually, the first 2 are easy for me. The third one, I don't know if you're going to agree with, but I got to see who you got.
So at number 3, I put Justin Verlander.
We're on the same page. We both got JV on the number 3.
I honestly think Justin should have won Cy Young last year. I think Garrett should have he would have got my vote if I had a vote.
Yeah, absolutely. Justin Verlander played great, especially since
I
he was mad.
Verlander had one more win, but his ERA was a little more than Garrett Cole, not much. WHIP was a little lower, but he had less strikeouts. So that's why how close that Cy Young vote was.
Yeah,
and having that no-hitter yet again thrown to his resume.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, he just came off of a Cy Young award-winning season, right? And he had 21 games with the ERA of he won 21 games. His ERA was 2.58, which is, amazing. Not to mention he was an all-star. Like you said, he pitched a no-hitter. That's pretty impressive for pitching. I would have had him a lot higher, but, he's 36 years old. I'm leaving some room for regression. Yeah. I'm not counting him out, but, I can't – when you talk about the top three guys, we're talking about the same person. It's pretty close. It's tight.
Yeah, definitely. Like these three, I'm pretty sure we got the three, just maybe different orders. But
right. And like
I said, Verlander is special talent, especially going to school here in Norfolk, where we're from.
Yeah, he holds a place in my heart because he went to Old Dominion University. Let's go Monarchs.
So, but I'm really glad he ended up getting a title a couple years ago because being in Detroit, always missing out, being that top pick. And
let's talk about those Detroit pitchers. The team that they had, they should have won.
They had four of the pitchers that was in this past World Series.
That's for another episode. Let's keep going. You got anything else?
It probably hurts as a Detroit fan, probably, when you saw that meme when the World Series going on that you had these four guys. Well, since we had the same third, I think second we're probably going to flip-flopped.
Right. I mean, my number two is a guy that could easily be number one and is definitely my favorite pitcher right now, though. I got Jacob deGrom.
Yeah, I don't have Jacob deGrom as two. I have my number one.
Yeah, so Jacob deGrom, I mean, he is definitely deserving of number one. He's been a back-to-back Cy Young Award winner in the National League. He's the All-MLB first team in 2019, and he was a strikeout leader last year for the National League as well.
Yes.
His career ERA is a 2.62. The dude can pitch.
Yeah.
I mean, his wins total the last two seasons aren't impressive, but we talked about that. We don't care about wins. He had 11 wins last season and 10 the season before. But that's because he's not getting any help back out there.
No.
I mean,
the bullpen definitely did justice. I should have pulled how many games he lost because of the bullpen. Because I know the year before when he won his first Cy Young, like we said, if we even got the between relieves and then just runs, if we scored 3 runs a game, he would have been like 25-game winner.
Right, and like we said earlier in the day, I mean, he has the MLB record for the most consecutive starts, allowing 3 runs or fewer with 30 straight starts. That's the number, 30 straight starts, man. I think he's going to continue his dominance into 2020, and with a better cast around him, I'm calling for 20 wins this season.
Like he said, the Fan Fest this past weekend, the Mets ever first Fan Fest, he's like, his goals, he's like, I guess to win another Cy Young. Like, when's the last time someone really won 3 straight? And could be something special.
That's unheard of. Let's win 3 straight and a World Series championship.
Yeah. Like, when you get with deGrom, you hand him the ball. Most of the time, your bullpen's probably think, like, okay, we have the day off.
We have the day off, exactly.
There's been those rare games the last 2 years, like he's had us a funky start. But since he's been called up, he's been consistent in his pitching. Like, he's had a few bad games here, but he's been right there. Like, he is definitely older. Like, that's why this contract he signed this season was ultimately might be his only big contract. Because he is 31, because he had the Tommy John. He played through college, which he wasn't technically even a starting pitcher at the beginning of college, which is unreal watching this guy pitch.
Can't wait to see his movie. It must be a great one.
Right. Where's that 30 for 30 in like 10 years? But yeah, like his stats, 255 strikeouts. The WHIP is under 1 yet again. The ERA sub 2.5. It's just unreal talking about back-to-back years and being the Cy Young. Like, towards the end of the year, it's like it was more and more looking like deGrom, Cy Young again. Like when Ryu started messing up there at the end, like, and deGrom being lights out, like this could happen, like, and it did. Like he all got all but one of the first place votes. Like it was unanimous that everyone recognized that he is yet again the best pitcher.
Must have been the same person that didn't vote for Derek Jeter.
Touchy subject there. Well, then I'm pretty sure we figure out who your number one is. I had him at number 2, which is Garrett Cole.
Absolutely.
It was very like I said, when I was debating it, I'm like, I think I go back-to-back Cy Young. I give it to deGrom for number 1. Garrett Cole, this is definitely going to be his test, being in that limelight, being that ace in arguably the biggest team in baseball of the Yankees, because a lot of people believe that they were missing that one pitcher, and they believe Garrett Cole is. And for that ridiculous contract they gave him, that he better deliver.
Yeah,
for
man.
him.
The Yankees got him on a 9-year deal for $324 million.
Like I said last week, I don't think paying over 30 that ridiculous money for a pitcher.
Yeah, man.
Over 9
I agree
years.
with Alan. I don't know if I could pay a pitcher like that, because pitchers don't last that long in the season. Unless you're Bartolo Colon, you normally don't last this long. I mean, he's in the prime of his career. Last season, he had 20 wins. His ERA was a 2.5, which led to AL. I mean, with the surrounding cast he's pitching with, this dude's got a lot of ton of upside. Last season he made the all MLB first team. Is an all-star strikeout leader in the Major League Baseball. I expect this dude to crush.
Yeah. It's definitely going to be very interesting for him, because he's going to be going against aces now, where he was the second pitcher in Houston, where it might be a little more challenging for him, where he might not get as many wins because, A, it's the AL East, and being ace versus ace, that's when you definitely can tell if you're a pitcher. So I'm very interesting to watch this team and see how he does. And it just looked weird with him being shaved and cleaned up. That stupid
Gotta
Yankees
do it
rule.
for the Yankees.
But
I mean, like I said, last year his WAR was a 6.8. I mean,
like watching him grow into this pitcher that he is, it just makes the Pirates look worse and worse for that trade they did, because none of those people they trade Garrett for has
panned
made
out.
the majors.
Yeah,
Nothing.
man.
Like I think the highest person someone got is AA.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Only time will tell if this is a good trade or not for them.
Yeah.
I mean, we obviously know the Pirates in a rebuild mode.
Yeah.
I mean, they got rid of most of their good players. They got one left, I think. Was that Josh Bell, maybe?
Yeah, of course, he's still on his rookie deal, so he's not even costing. Like, after you trade Marte, your payroll as of today is $43 million. What is it? Mike Trout makes, what, 37?
Sorry, fans. I'm over here messing with Alan.
It's just very interesting to see, like, a lot of people are calling for MLB to step in with the Pirates, but that's another subject, another day. So that's our top 10. So please let us know what you think. Like I said, those top 4 or 5 you could easily flip.
Yeah, let's just go through it one more time in case everybody, so they can keep up. My top 10, I got number 10, Zach Greinke. Number 9, Jack Flaherty. Number 8, Shane Bieber. I got number 7 is Steven Strasburg, followed by number 6, Max Scherzer. I got at number 5, Hyunjin Ryu. And number 4, Walker Buehler. Number 3, I got Justin Verlander. Number 2 is Jacob deGrom. And then number 1, I got Garrett Cole. Let's go through Alan's list.
Yeah, so my top 10 was ultimately Walker Buehler at number 10. Charlie, Morton at 9. Clay Shaw at 8. Jack Flaherty at 7. Mike Soroka at 6. Steven Strasburg 5. Max at 4. Verlander at 3. Cole at 2. And then DeGrom at 1.
All right. I mean, we had some of the same.
And
but
it's going to
we
be
had
very
some
interesting
different.
because MLB Network have not done their starting pitchers yet. So I want to see how their list comes out. It's going to be very interesting.
Can't wait to see how off we are.
Like I said, the top 5, I feel like we're going to be the same. It's very hard to argue. I think the bottom 5 is I want to see how we put the younger guys in. I want to see if they do the same thing.
Right, and like I said, man, we don't care about what you've done. We care about what we think you're going to go. You know,
it's this year. It's not like what have you done for me lately?
Right, because I know the way that the MLB does it. I think they take the past 2 years in consideration. So some of these rookies might not even make it. Look, we're calling it as we see it.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to catchers.
Catchers.
All right,
like
guys,
said,
top 10.
This is probably going to be the ones that people are probably going to be mad.
Yeah, get mad, stay mad, because you know what? I'm going to tell you guys right now. Guess who's not on my list? I don't have Buster Posey on my list.
Neither do I.
Get mad. Well, with that being said, now that we're on the same page on one player, who do you have at number 10?
I have Omar
Narvaez.
Yep.
Narvaez. I don't know if I'm ruining his name.
I'm looking at him, I'm like, and it's weird. Like, you have your defensive catchers, you have your offensive catchers. When I was making this list, like, you can definitely tell who's the all-around catcher, who's that defensive catcher, offense. Like, how do you list them?
Catchers are a touchy subject.
Yeah, especially with like Buster Posey being like, it's now time for him to probably play more first baseman. Like, that's
do what Mike Piazza did. Move to first base. Save those knees.
Yeah, it's about time. You can tell he missed a lot of he had his worst season last year, and then not even about the same season this year.
And we know he can hit.
Yes.
So this would be a good example of a guy who could become a DH or a first baseman. You got to save those knees, man.
Yeah, and just like Joe Mauer with the Twins when he moved to first base because his knees. it's almost a time when okay, like Yadi Mulir, it's been surprised he's done this long.
Yeah, man.
And he's
the Molina brothers.
I'll
definitely
tell you right now, he's not on my list.
He's not on my list either, Alan.
Yeah,
we are on it, man.
Yeah, Omar, 22 home runs, 55 RBIs, and a batting average of 278.
Yep,
it's not a bad for a catcher, especially when, like I said, with defensive, offensive. So that's why I put him right there at my number 10, breaking my list.
I got him close. He's my number 9 guy. Like you said, I would argue that last season was his breakout season.
Yes.
I mean, he batted 278, which is only bested by Wilson Ramos for the Mets. So his batting average is one of the best in the catchers all around. One of the better hitting catchers in the game right now, I think.
Yeah. Like I said, only 55 RBIs is probably where he was at. Like, he probably didn't have a great year before, so maybe towards the year he got a little more higher, but we don't know. But I expect him to, like, catchers are falling off. Like they said with Buster and Yachty, people are going to step up, and he definitely stepped up, so that's why he cracked my top 10.
Definitely new generation of catchers about to come through. That's for sure.
If you have him at 9, who is your number 9?
My number 10.
10, that's right, yeah.
My number 10 is Tom Murphy from the Mariners.
Okay.
This guy's been up and down between the minors and the big leagues the last couple of years. I mean, he even failed to make the opening day roster last season. Mm-hmm. But when he got his chance, he batted 273, got 18 home runs, 40 RBIs, and that was all done in just 76 games.
Yeah.
Now that they see what he's got, I think they traded away the other guy, so he's going to have a full season this year, and I can't wait to see what he does.
Yeah, he was definitely considered for my top 10 when I narrowed it down to like 2 or 3 players for that top 10 position. And with a smaller sample size, I want to see more before I put him in my top 10.
I agree.
So if he hasn't even close, he's definitely top 10 next year.
He made my top 10 because I need to see some new blood, man. I can't keep talking about the same guys.
So I'm like, that's with my number 9 guy. I don't think a lot of people are going to have it on the list. Some people do because he is younger. And I was actually kind of glad that he got traded last year in the Paul Goldschmidt trade because he's been blocked by Yachty all these years. Carson Kelly, he's been a top prospect with the Cardinals, and he finally got his chance to play. He had an okay year, but I feel like he can do even better next year. So with 18 home runs, 47 RBIs with a 254 average, he is definitely trending better for his offensive numbers. Hopefully this year, he's a decent defensive catcher, and he's, if I remember correctly, only 23, 24.
He's 25 years old, man. You're going with all the young guys, I see.
The next generation. I've watched him. I was wondering when they're going to trade him or they're going to try to convert him to something else. With Yachty, when he re-signed a couple years ago, I'm like, what are they going to do with Carson? Like, you have this guy that's sitting there ready almost because he was in AAA. And then with the Goldschmidt, I'm like, I bet he's part of it. And sure enough, he was. I'm like, because you had this top prospect, like, wasting. I'm like, well, he's a great trade ass to get that guy we need, which that's why I thought possibly with him going to first base because Yachty's there, like he could be first base for now, at least get a bat, and then when Yachty's done, he could go back to catching. But now he's with the Diamondbacks, and the only time will tell if Carson can make that step.
And like I said, man, the Diamondbacks are making moves, so I like that they have a young catcher who can keep up. This team might be something to look at. I don't know.
The pitchers loved him. When he went right in, Greinke apparently got real close, like they got sync. So with Mad Bum this year, it could be a Buster Posey situation.
Hey, and that's great to have chemistry with your catcher, because I know that we had an issue in the Mets organization where DeGrom or Syndergaard, he had an issue with the catcher, but I like the catcher because it was Wilson Ramos, right? Yeah, and Ramos was raking. I mean, you can't take the guy out when he's hot. Yeah, you got to learn how to pitch.
I guess they're synced off in their pitcher selection, so you just got to have that chemistry, and apparently Carson had great chemistry, so only time will tell if this year he'll even make that next step.
All right, so I had, as you know, Omar Narvaez as my number 9 guy.
Yep.
So let's move on to number 8. Who do you have at number 8?
I have our catcher for the
Wilson Ramos.
I have number 8.
Okay.
Wilson Ramos.
Wilson Ramos actually made it to number 6 on my list.
Okay. Yeah, like not much power, but he was definitely a contact player. He only had 14 home runs, but 73 RBIs, which you can't argue as a catcher.
Yeah. I mean, I got, Wilson Ramos, a.k.a. the Buffalo. He had a 26-game hit streak last season. He finished the year batting 288, like you said. And the big stat for me, he also had 136 hits for the Metropolitans.
The only reason why I think he's that low because his defense and his framing is definitely off. You can tell he's getting older.
And plus, he had to split time with another catcher because Syndergaard didn't like the guy.
Yeah, they're the second half. Like, let's just
and,
get through this.
And another big thing is, none of the catchers on the Mets team could throw anybody out.
No,
it's sad. And the guys that could throw him out, we got rid of them.
Yeah, so that's why just Wilson. He's taking that step back. His framing, his defense, but offensively, he's still a guy. In a couple years, he might just be a DH. It won't surprise me because he's consistent. He does have that power a little bit, but like I said, 73 RBIs, the 26 hit streak, the average, it's not bad. So we'll see.
Yeah, we know what he can do. I mean, if he can do anything near that, we'll be happy.
Yeah.
Because I don't expect a lot of offense from a catcher in general. So anything he gives us will be a plus.
Yeah.
The guy I have at number 8 is Salvador Perez for the Royals. Do you have him on your list?
I have him at number 7.
Okay, so we're pretty close there. I mean, Salvador Perez, he's been an all-star the past 6 seasons. He's 2019. His numbers are almost identical with what he did last season. I mean, he had 27 home runs and 80 RBIs, but his average
2018.
Yeah, 2018, 2019. Those stats were
because 19 he didn't play.
Okay, well then the last 2 years he played.
Yeah,
his average dipped a little bit at 235. The guy is great defensively. I know I always hate seeing him when we play.
Yeah, like he's definitely solid. That's why he still made my list, even though he didn't play last year because of injury. But because it was that spring training game, it was really late. Like you're gonna miss the season, but he's right there, starting to come out of his prime. So that's why I believe he still is a top 10 worthy. Like I said, 27 home runs in last season, 80 RBIs. Average could get a little better, but you can't argue for almost
he's solid,
30 home
man.
runs.
Yeah, he's a solid
And
player.
defensively, he's solid too.
Right, that's what I'm saying. And defensively, that's all I want from my catcher. It's like a center in basketball.
And
get the rebound. I just want him to catch the ball.
It's
And
probably
frame
a little weird for him this year with the new managers. This year,
a little weird, but I don't expect him to miss a beat. I expect him to get back to what he's been doing.
It wouldn't surprise me if he gets traded during the trade deadline because I think he don't have that much left on his contract. And Royals, you can kind of tell they're about rebuilding, getting younger. So I don't know if they have a catcher in the prospect or something in the works. So we'll see. We'll have to keep an eye on him. All right. So he was your number 8. Who's your number 7?
My number 7 is a Red Sox catcher, Christian Vasquez.
I don't have him on my list.
You don't have him on your list? Okay, well, let me tell you about Christian. He's another great defensive catcher. He's got elite framing capability. That's what I like in a catcher. He's a pretty solid hitter as well. He batted .276, 23 home runs, and 72 RBIs last season. He split time behind the plate with Blake Swihart. Mm-hmm. I mean, this year, assuming he can be the standalone starting catcher, I expect those numbers to increase.
Yeah.
I expect him to bloom and a force to be reckoned with. This dude, like I said, man, he's all around great catcher. I like him.
Yeah, I like him.
Especially in the Red Sox.
Yeah, like we said with the Red Sox, we don't know what that team's going to do yet this year. And he had a solid year, and we'll see what kind of pitchers he have because the talk of Price trying to be traded with Mookie Betts to try to get rid of that money, or who knows what happens with David Price because they're trying to unload it. So we'll see what kind of young pitchers they're going to bring up. So he's definitely going to work with them. So, but like you said, his framing's great. His offense numbers can be great. So only time will tell with him being the full-time catcher. If they commit and he does great, we can see great future in front of him.
All right. So let's move on to number 6. I already told you I had Wilson Ramos as my number 6. Who do you got?
I have Will Smith.
Will Smith. All right.
From the Dodgers.
All right.
With that small sample size when they called him up, he did his thing with 15 home runs, 42 RBIs, 253. You can definitely tell this is the future. And when you're catching Walker and Clayton, you are got to be a very intelligent catcher. And they had another prospect, I think they called 2 years ago, but they highly believe in Will Smith.
Yeah, man, another young guy you got there, 24 years old. I like him though, man. Like you said, he could be great. Only time will tell. I mean, we got a small sample size.
Yeah,
can't wait to see what he does
late
this year.
Second half, and he absolutely did his thing in the second half. So yeah. So at number 5 is this guy I was very teetering, and mostly he got on my list is because of his offense. Is Gary Sanchez.
Guess what, man? We both got Gary Sanchez at number 5.
His defense is very not that great. He's arguably one of the worst defensive catchers lately, and his average is kind of terrible for his power.
Well, I can always make an argument that when Mike Piazza was the catcher, he wasn't always a catcher, and he probably wasn't the best defensive either, but we all loved him because he could rake.
Yeah.
Gary Sanchez, he's a 2-time All-Star. He batted .232, like you said, not that great, but he did have 34 home runs and 77 RBIs.
Yeah.
He's the fastest catcher to reach 100 home runs.
Yeah.
You can't argue with that.
All those years in the minor leagues, finally, like, he was in the future game many times for the world because he was right there. He'd get his opportunity and don't do great, so they send him back down. Finally, he's taking his benefit, hitting his home runs the last couple of years. So
of course he's hitting his home runs, man. He's in the pinstripes. You got to hit home runs. That is a criteria to get on that squad.
So it's definitely going to be interesting seeing him catch for Garrett Cole this year.
Oh, yeah.
Have that ace. Like, they has not seen that since he's been in New York. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how that chemistry goes. And if you get the average up, he can even climb this list even further next year.
I was going to say, get his average up, but I was also going to say, if he can get his defensive game up, then I will definitely have him higher on my list next time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, let's go to number 4.
I have Wilson Contreras.
Look, man, there's 2 for 2. You and I are on the same page. I got Wilson Contreras as well.
Yeah. With the Cubs, 24 home runs, 64 RBIs, 272 is one of the better averages for a catcher.
Absolutely.
Very young, and that's another thing with the Cubs. Like, there's rumors of him being moved on because if they trade Bryant, they're going to trade him.
They're going to trade everybody away. Yeah.
It's going to because with Anthony Rizzo's contract's up this year, and I believe a couple other players. So this is the 1 year if they all stick together, their last shot before people possibly leaving, trading, and he's definitely came in and once he got to the position has been consistent and hasn't let go besides his little injury.
Yeah, man. I mean, he's a 2-time All-Star for the Cubbies. He only played 105 games last year, but like you said, his stats were pretty good. I think he still needs to work on his framing.
Yes.
But like you said, as long as he can stay healthy, I expect his offensive numbers to flourish.
Yeah, and then say he does get traded, who knows what park, even better park.
Oh, absolutely. A hitter-friendly park.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Being 24 home runs, we can see possibly 30, 40 because he has that power.
Well, those 24 home runs were only in 105 games. I mean, you add another 60 games there or so.
He probably would have been our 30 home run guy. So we both have him at 4. Third, I feel like we're going to be different.
Absolutely, probably different. Well, who do you got if you think that?
I have Mitch Garvey.
Bro, you are not going to believe this. Mind blown. We both got Mitch Garver at number 3. That's
31 home runs. That's why I put him up there. He had a definitely breakout year. You can't say nothing about this kid.
Well, let's talk about it. You said he had 31 home runs, and that was only playing 93 games last season. He spent time on the DL after colliding with Ohtani.
With that, towards the end, that rookie, total, with him, Pete was going, then he started to catch fire. I'm like, who's this kid?
It's contagious.
Out of nowhere, like I said, with that small sample size, he probably would have done Pete numbers if he had the full season.
Even with that small sample size, he still managed to get a Silver Slugger award last season.
Like I said, 31
homers, 64 ribbies.
Yeah.
His WAR was a 4.0. His slugging percentage was
and it's not bad for his average either for that small sample size at a 273.
Look, man, his slugging percentage was a .630, which was the best at his position with at least 300 at bats. I like the kid. That's why he's number 3, man.
Yeah.
He's somebody to look at.
Yeah, he's definitely. I can't wait for a full season to see what this kid can do this year.
Absolutely.
So it's definitely like we said earlier. I'm loving this young team players coming out of nowhere and just taking this by storm, making the game interesting again. So we'll definitely see. Time will tell with this guy. This sample size.
All right, man. So you and I both had the same number 5, 4, and 3.
Very hard.
These two got to be the same as well, man. I don't understand how you can have anybody else.
I think we might swap.
All right. Well, you want me to go then?
Yeah.
All right. My number 2 is Yasmani Grandal.
Fuck, we got it right.
So look at that, man. We got it right.
Yeah.
I mean, look.
It was very. I literally had them both. I crossed out. I kept moving them.
Look, man. I like Yasmani. His last season, he signed a 1-year contract betting on himself, and obviously it paid off. Because he just got done signing a 4-year, $73 million deal in the offseason with the White Sox last year. I mean, he batted .246, 28 home runs, 77 RBIs. He was even talked about in MVP. He finished 15 in voting.
Yeah, definitely one of the best catchers right now. That's why it was very hard for me to go 1-2. But like I said, he bet himself, paid off, and that White Sox team is going to be special this year.
I think so too, man.
So if he can just bring that average up just a little bit, and what that talent around in the other side of Chicago, it's going to be very special. And that weaker division, like I said, we don't know what Cleveland's fully doing yet. Royals looks like they're rebuilding. It's going to be very interesting. I think that's why White Sox made all these acquisitions and trades.
You got to keep up, man. You got to keep up.
And I feel like with that young core they had and getting certain players back, this is going to be a very interesting team. And especially with those young pitchers, this is a great catcher for those young pitchers. So only time will tell. But, yeah, like when you're one of the first people to sign in that contract because you wanted that 4th year last year, you didn't get it. So let me sign a 1-year deal. And this is the only team to give you that 4th year. And possibly having a playoff team, what sounds like, why not? So, well, then I guess we already know who our number 1 catcher is.
I don't know, man. I think I got like Pedro Severino or somebody up there.
JT Realmuto.
Real Muto, yes. He plays for the Phillies,
I hope we sign him next year.
So he led all the catchers last season in WAR, wins above replacement with a 4.4. I mean, a guy's hits. He got 148 hits last season. He had 83 RBIs, 25 home runs, batted .275. This guy is an all-star and a Silver Slugger winner in the past 2 seasons.
Yeah, like I said, another former Miami Marlins player that had potential, but with Derek Jeter fully building the team, he knew he was going to be able to keep him. So by trading him last offseason, Philly's first year, he had a great year. Like with that lineup, if you look at it, it was very – who are you going to pitch to? Like when they especially got Bryce Harper.
That's a scary lineup, man.
So JT did his thing last year. Definitely the average was right there. The home runs, the RBIs.
And he could do it defensively. He got a gold glove. And he also made the MLB first team last season.
Yeah. That's why I said he's definitely the best catcher in baseball right now. He's very young. He's a free agent next year. So, like I said, I hope Mets sign him because with Ramos coming off the books after this season, it will not surprise me. He's going to get that money.
Yeah, man, the Phillies are going to be something to really watch this year. I hate to admit it as a Mets fan. I don't like the Phillies, but they're going to be something.
I feel like our division is going to come down to who doesn't get hurt,
right?
Who has the most depth.
And the Braves, man, it's just going to be tough.
Yeah. So let's go over our catchers because we got our 10. So pretty much the top. What was it? Top 5.
Top 5. We had the same.
Right.
So we'll go through our top or 10 through 6, and then we'll just mention our top 5.
Yeah. So Omar Narvaez for me for 10, Carson Kelly at 9, Wilson Ramos at 8, Perez at 7, and Will Smith at 6 for me.
All right. My number 10 was Tom Murphy. My number 9 is Omar Narvaez. Number 8 is Salvador Perez. And I have Christian Vasquez at number 7, Wilson Ramos at number 6.
And, of course, we both had Gary Sanchez, Wilson Contreras, Mitch Garvey, and then Yasmati, and then JT to round off the top 10.
All right. Well, with that being said, it's time to go into first base, our top 10.
First baseman is always, over the years, one of the hardest all-star selection. Like, who's going to get in, who's be reserved, and who's just going to miss out because it's stacked. And I feel like first baseman's heading back that way with the younger crop coming in and the veterans there. It's definitely going to be interesting. So at number 10, it was very like Harvard, like when I was looking at it, like who am I putting at number 10? So I got a Philly.
Okay, who we got?
Hoskins.
Reese.
So the biggest reason, because his average was straight terrible this year at 226.
Right, man.
But the biggest thing, what highlighted me, why I snuck him in, he had 116 walks.
Wow. It's pretty impressive.
Like we said with that lineup, with him, like we just said, JT and Bryce, it felt like he got pitched around because of his great last year was. So I figure with that many walks, who knows what his average would have been if he actually got a chance to hit. Yeah,
man, I agree. Reese, I went back and forth with him in my number 10 so much, man. It's just he didn't make my list. He didn't make the cut, but he was right there. And I think the reason he didn't make the cut is because I didn't like his batting average.
Yeah.
I couldn't get behind that.
That's like when I was like, God, why did he have such a terrible average? But then I saw the walk. I was like, okay, that makes a little more sense. If you have over 100 walks and been on that team, who knows what it could have been. But he definitely needs to average up and but still get on base with 116 walks. It's still not bad for a first baseman. So who are your number 10?
Well, before I get into all this, I just want to let everyone know that, some of these guys can qualify at first base in other positions. Like some of these guys, you might say, hey, that's an outfielder or a second baseman, but they also played first base, because I just want to clarify that, because I know some guys I have up here might be double positions. My number 10 guy is a guy who's been on the list for quite a while. I got Paul Goldschmidt. It's between him and Reese. He's my number 10. Do you have him on your list?
I have him at number 4.
Number 4. Wow. This is going to be an interesting night. So I got Paul Goldschmidt at number 10. I mean, he almost didn't make the list on my list. He's still out there doing his thing. Last season, he batted .260, 34 home runs, 97 ribbies. I mean, he wasn't an all-star last year, but like you said, it was stacked. He still ended up in the MVP discussion. He's been a factor for his team. He always produces. He's consistent.
Yeah, definitely took that step back from going to the Cardinals from Diamondbacks, but he didn't really miss too much of a beat. Like last year, I think on MLB's list, he was like number 2. So he did take that step back and be in a different place. Maybe that's what got him messed up. It took
there's
a
a
while
lot of factors.
But
we don't know.
I feel like with being second all season with that organization, showing up to Florida compared to Arizona, he'll be ready, and we'll see what he does this year.
All right. Well, hey, man, we are going to be interesting on this first baseman. So
who you got for your number 9?
Oh, get ready for this. So my number 9 is somebody you mentioned not too long ago, and I guarantee he's not on your list, but he had to make my list, man. I have Christian Walker.
He was, like we'll say, my top 15.
Right, and I got him at number 9. I've been following this guy for a while. He played for the Norfolk Tides here locally, and we know the guy can hit. I mean, in 2017 in the minors for Reno, he batted .309 with 32 dingers and 114 RBIs. Like I said, there's so much people in this pool, he didn't get a chance to get called up to the big leagues. He's got great potential. He showed it last year. I think last year was his breakthrough season. He batted .259, 29 home runs, 73 RBIs. Now that the Diamondbacks acquired Sterling Marte, this should only help his stats increase, I think. With a full year under his belt, I think he's going to open up some eyes this season.
Yeah, he was the opening day starting first baseman after Paul Goldschmidt got traded. Like you said, when he was with the Orioles, he was blocked by Chris Davis forever. Then they moved to the outfield, and then he was still blocked in.
Outfield is stacked, man.
So then they released him. He went to Atlanta, but then he got released, and he ended up with Diamondbacks, had that breakout year, and then, like I said, Paul got traded, and here's your chance, and he
took advantage of it. He took advantage of his opportunity.
So time will tell. If this year he has another solid year, then he can. As I remember correctly, this is strikeouts.
Right. Well, right. And there's a lot of guys who have big strikeouts, but especially for first base. But like I said, I got him on my list because he's going to open up some eyes this year, man. If he can be consistent like he did last year, get ready to hear Christian Walker's name.
So we talked about the White Sox earlier. I have their first base, Jose Abreu. Yep.
Jose Abreu.
Yep. I have him at number 9, 33.
All right, let's talk about it. He didn't make my list, but let's get into it.
Wow, really?
Yeah, man, we're all over the place right now.
Yeah, like I said, this is stacked, but 33 home runs, 123 RBIs with a batting average of 284.
Yeah,
you can't ask for nothing better than that for your first baseman.
You can't, man. You really can't. I don't know why he didn't make my list, man. I'm just trying to go off the wall, but yes, those stats are impressive.
Yeah, and then adding, like we said, like the pieces that White Sox did. Who knows if who's going to pitch to who? Like, is it going to free him up to get more? He might get even more RBIs because people are going to be on base. So only time will tell. But yeah, like he's definitely like entering his full-fledged prime now. So it's like White Sox's time to use him because I think he's only last year of his deal this year or something like that. So it's only time will tell with him.
All right. Well, with that, let's go into
number 8. I have Carlos Santana.
All right, I got Carlos Santana up a little bit on my list. I have him at number 5. Let's get into it.
Okay. So with Carlos Santana, had 34 home runs, 93 RBIs, and 281. For a guy in Cleveland, you can't ask for anything better than that.
Like you said, man, Carlos has always been good. Yeah. If last season was any indication of what's to come, get ready for some action. Like you said, man, he hit great. I know he's getting older, but the last 4 seasons, he's averaged about 29 home runs and 86 RBIs in the last 4 seasons. So I don't think he has any signs of slowing down.
No, definitely not. And as I said, with Cleveland, what they're going to do, because if they decide to start trading people, he could be another candidate they let go. So great first baseman, older, but yeah, he can still take it yard, hit for average and hit him in. So I have him at number 8, and you said you have him as number 5, right?
I do. I have him at number 5.
So who's your number 8?
My number 8 is Yuli Gurriel. You don't got him on your list,
I
do
don't have
you?
my list.
All right, man. Yuli, a.k.a. La Pina. He's out of Cuba. Last season, he batted .298, 31 home runs, 104 RBIs. I'm expecting more of the same from him this year, man. If he can keep it up, those numbers are
very
nuts.
hard. Like,
Yeah,
there's
so many good talent out there. First base is a tough spot because everybody can rake.
Yeah, like definitely. Like this is why we make this list to have discussions because there's so many different players out there and who we think. But yeah, he's definitely a great player. I expect a lot from him this year, so we'll see if we can make that step.
Let's see if we'll be talking about him later in the season. That's for sure.
Definitely.
So let's go to number 7. Who do you got?
I have Matt Olson.
Matt Olson. I got Matt Olson a lot higher on my list, or lower. I got him at number 3.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, I like the kid, man. What do you got? What do you know about him?
You know, the 36 home runs, 91 RBIs. The average is pretty decent at 267. Being that team is like you don't really hear too many people from, and he's that bright spot.
Well, at least not over here. We don't.
Yeah.
Look, man, I'm gonna tell you what I got about this kid. He's one of the better, if not the best, offensive and defensive first baseman in the game. He's one of my favorites. I mean, this dude is young. He's 25 years old. He's a little bit under the radar, like you said. But he can play. He seems to get better every single year. He's 2-time Gold Glove winner. Since 2017, his home runs and RBIs increased each year. So, he went going from 2017, he had 24 home runs, 45 RBIs, and only playing 59 games. To 2018, he had 29 home runs and 84 RBIs. And last season, like you said, 36 home runs, 91 RBIs. I mean, if the dude can keep this up, man, he's going to be on his way to his first All-Star game and potentially an MVP candidate, if you ask me.
Yeah.
And you heard it here first. I got that guy down as an All-Star this year. You heard it here first.
Man, the AL, he can probably do it. Looking at my list, a lot of people I have at the top of my list is where it gets real crowded is the NL. So
Oh, yeah.
at the AL, yeah, it will not surprise me if he can make it in, especially the starter or definitely reserve for sure if he has anywhere close to what he did last season.
All right. So that's your number 7, right?
Yep.
All right. So I'll tell you who I got here. I got number 7, a guy who's been on the list for a little bit. I got Anthony Rizzo.
All right. I have him as my number 5.
Okay. So we're close. We're close. As you know, Anthony, he was a Gold Glove winner last season. He led the majors in hit by pitch with 27. Yeah. Needless to say, the guy gets on base.
Yeah.
His batting average is .293, 27 home runs, 94 RBIs. He's been consistent his whole career, and he absolutely deserves to be on a top 10 list, if you ask me.
Oh, definitely. His story about getting cancer, then getting that second chance with the Cubs and flourish. And definitely this is going to be his year for him because this is a contract year. His contract is up, so if he wants to get that money re-signed, like we said, we don't know what Cubs are going to do, and it's going to be very interesting with Rizzo. Like we said, the 27 home runs and being just shy of 300 is the closest anyone on the list for first baseman at the average. So, yes, he has power, and he hits for average, and he gets on base from hits, walks, everything. So, yeah, that's why I have him at number 5 because he's still
bringing
right there.
it, man.
Yeah.
All right.
So that was your number.
That's my number 7.
Okay. So at 6, I have Josh Bell.
Okay, I got Josh Bell at number 4 on my list.
Yeah. Great kid. Met him here coming through Norfolk. And it's like that Pirates bright spot. That's like I feel like that's their guy they got to build around.
And I'm glad you said that, man, because that's what I wrote down too. I wrote down he's one of the few highlights from the Pirates season.
Great, like between that and their pitcher, you could tell he was in the home run derby. He has that power.
Yeah, what was his stats looking like?
He had 37 home runs, 116 RBIs at 277 with the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Right, with the Pirates.
116 RBIs.
That's hard to do.
Like, you definitely tell you're that bright spot if you're knocking in that many people for the Pirates and you lost that many games.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, I mean,
37 home runs, like being that young and that power and being like I said, not that great of a team and having that when they build people around him, who knows what this kid can do?
I mean, that's if they're going to plan on building people around him because, like I said, I like what he did based on the team he played for. I would like to see him do it again this year, but what I would really like to see is him do it on another team.
Yeah. He has, I think, 3 years left in his rookie. I think this is his second or third year full. So he definitely has time still. So we'll see what Pittsburgh does. If their prospects, I really didn't look at the prospect list, see who they have in their list. If they have people like ready, but new coach, new regime in Pittsburgh, so we'll see. Only time will tell what that organization does with this kid, because he's definitely special.
Well, they might be trying to get rid of him. Like I said, they just got rid of Marte. They might be doing a fire sale, trying to rebuild. Who knows?
He would definitely be besides Tyron, he's probably the only that would probably get you multiple prospects back. And Josh Bell, like I said, I'm thinking he has 3 years left of control. That's plenty of time to throw someone in. It definitely be like who has the prospects, who has who's willing to go and bet right now that, okay, and if he has a great year, he would be surprised for me come trade season. Like his name starts to get thrown. If he has another where he's talking about home run derby again because his numbers are right there, it's like, and we maybe need that one little piece. He could be that piece.
It all depends on how they start playing. I mean, if they play well, he might stay. If they tank, he could be on a trade block real quick.
Yeah, definitely. So, okay, that was my number 6. Who do you have at number 6?
At number 6, I got Max Muncy.
Okay, I have him higher.
And this is why I tried saying this earlier, because he could also be on the second base list as well.
Yes,
I got him down in first base.
I did too.
Is a first-time All-Star last season with the Dodgers. I mean, his name was thrown around as a potential MVP candidate. He batted just .251, but he had 35 home runs, 98 RBIs. He's got to prove himself again this year. But what he did last year should light a fire under his butt and get it and play with a chip on his shoulders if you have to. I mean, I think he's going to have another great season.
Yeah, very solid season with the 35 home runs, just shy of 100 RBIs, and with that team of how many hitters and stuff on the Dodgers, to still have that stat. And he kind of got shadowed by wow, why am I drawing a name blank right now? MVP last year.
Bellinger?
Yeah. You heard a lot about Bellinger. You didn't hear about
Right.
Max Muncy until certain games and stuff. I have Max at my number 3.
Okay.
Like you said, he could technically be second base. He played a lot of second base, but he did play a good chunk at first base. So with the average and another full season, he can definitely flourish to be top 5 for sure. I was going through my list, and I'm that's why I have him at 3, because he had a solid year, and I won't surprise me if he can be Bellinger this year, have that breakout year where Bellinger takes a step back and he takes that step forward and starts ranking the home runs, the average. So,
well, either way, it'll be a fun competition between the two. So if they can feed off each other's energy, who knows, man?
Definitely.
Who you got at number 5?
So number 5, I had Rizzo.
Okay, so we already discussed him.
Yeah.
So my number 5, I got Carlos Santana.
So that was my number 8. So yeah.
Okay, and we've already talked about him.
So my 4 was Goldsmith. So who did you have at 4?
I had Josh Bell.
Okay,
so we talked about them.
So 3 was my Muncy. So who do you have at 3?
I got Matt Olson.
Okay.
All right, so this guy, he's one of the better, if not,
Yeah, he was my number 7.
he's one of the better, if not the best offensive and defensive first baseman in the game. He's one of my favorites, man. He's a young guy, like you like the young guys. He's 25. He's a little under the radar.
So then pretty much we're at our top 2 then, which I feel like we're going to probably have the same.
Might be different order.
I have Pete at 2.
Well, then we might have the same ones.
Yeah,
But look, these two guys, they're there. They are the top 2, if you ask me.
Yeah, the biggest thing with these two, with Pete Alonso and then Freddie Freeman at number 1, is Pete. You can't argue with the 53 home runs of the rookie year, 120 RBIs. Average, yes, can be better. And being a rookie, he did swing at a lot of terrible pitches last year.
It might be because he was trying to go for the gusto, man.
Especially there at the end, he wanted that record. Once you get close to something, you want it even more.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
that power is just there. We saw it the year before in the Futures game when he took one almost out of Nationals Park.
and not to mention the home run derby. I mean, that was something to watch.
Yeah, he got close there in the first round, but then how everyone was saying he wasn't even trying.
Right,
That ball was sailing,
naturally crushing it.
So
Yeah,
I
man.
definitely take a step back this year. I don't expect another 50
Oh,
home run.
I can't expect that.
40 would amaze me again. For you have 90 home runs in your first 2 seasons in the MLB.
Yeah, man.
So,
He's coming off of what I consider to be the best rookie season, period.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't argue, like you said.
we all talk about Aaron Judge that when you're at 52, now he has the record
Yeah,
at
and
53.
I thought Aaron Judge, I was shocked at what he did, and now
Yeah,
the
we
polar
thought,
bear came
that
in.
was gonna never get touched because that's ridiculous. A rookie to come in with 50 home runs,
and
then Pete
as
comes in a
as
few
we
years
see, he's
later.
like, oh yeah, hold my beer. So the polar bear is a beast. Yeah, he's gonna slow down. He slowed down some of the second half this season, but you can't argue with the greatness, man. What we witnessed in 2019, if that's just a fraction of what he does this year, it's crazy.
The second half, his defense definitely got even better. Because that was one thing a lot of people were like, I don't know if he's defensive ready, but he definitely proved a lot of the plays he made last year.
Yeah, man. I mean, the Mets fans truly have something to be excited about when this guy comes to the plate because he's absolutely going to smash the ball.
Smash, and then just that character around him, like you can see him like being that Freddie Freeman for the Mets.
Exactly, and that's why I think that I have this guy so high at number 2 because he's going to help the team
He's
get
gonna help
into
the team,
playoff
and then-
contention and possibly a World
and then
Series run.
being the home run leader in MLB in your rookie year at 53 home runs, you can't not have him at least in your top 5.
Look, I can't say enough good things about Pete Alonso, but let's move on to our number 1.
Freddie Freeman's that safe
Freddie
safe bet.
Absolutely.
Like we all knew that he was going to be the all-star like vote when it was coming down to him and Pete, and then Pete got in as reserve. We knew like this guy is almost like the gold standard for first baseman the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, man. I mean, he's back to 100% healthy. Last season he batted .295, 38 home runs, 121 RBIs. He led the National League in line drive percentage with 27.5. Now that he has had his bone spur taken care of, he could be even better than that. It's hard to think about how good this guy could be playing injured. Now think about when he's playing healthy. I mean, one thing for sure is that he's going to have fans over there doing the tomahawk chop all season long, man.
Yeah, like he is definitely the face of Atlanta besides the young guys, and he's a great leader for that young clubhouse when they start bringing all these young guys up. And to what he's done year after year and just missing that 300 average as a first baseman, still having just shy of 40 home runs and still having 121 RBIs, and that's nothing, especially for that team that can get on base a lot and hit home runs and doubles, triples in that ballpark. That is a scary team. It's
scary and young.
As a Mets fan, I'm looking like that's my NL favorite right now, especially
Absolutely.
keep adding Ozuna last week. It's like, who are you going to pitch to this team? Like, you got to have lights out stuff for your pitching staff to slow this team down. Between Acuna, the only person they need to step up for that team is definitely Swanson, which rumors is they want Lindor from the Cleveland. If they get him, I'm done. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, man. Last year that team was definitely under the radar. This year we know what they're bringing. They're young.
2 years ago
they're
when they
talented.
first did it, we're like, okay, they're
Right.
young. They're finally bringing them up. We're like, okay, can they do it again? And they did it.
So now it's time to respect them. Respect their
now
game.
it's like, okay, they're the favorites. Now who's going to finish after them? Nationals, Mets, Phillies. It's going to be a very interesting
exactly.
season.
Did you just
for
hear
our
those
NL East.
those teams that came out of your mouth? Those are all
For some
contenders.
reason, I pick teams with tough divisions.
Contenders.
God, and I knew it as a Met fan. Like when we went 15, and I'm seeing the prospects, like they had 10 top prospects on the 100 list a couple years ago, and a lot of them were pitchers. And National League pitchers right here are in the major league, are right here at AAA, ready to be called up. And that's why with them losing Josh Donaldson, they could easily plug in Austin Riley, which is he's ready, and it's a very scary team. So
Look,
that
man.
is my
Yeah, they
first
can't-
baseman's.
They can't get here fast enough, man. The season cannot get here fast enough.
I'm ready for some baseball.
Ready
so let's
for
go
some
over
baseball.
top 10 for our first baseman again.
All right.
I have Hoskin at 10, Abreu at 9, Santana at 8, Matt Olson at 7, Josh Bell at 6, Rizzo at 5, Goldsmith at 4, Muncy at 3, Alonso at 2, and then Freddie Freeman at 1.
All right, in my top 10 first baseman, I got Paul Goldschmidt at 10, Christian Walker at 9, Yuli Gurriel at 8, a.k.a. La Pina. I got Anthony Rizzo at number 7, Max Muncy at 6, Carlos Santana at 5, Josh Bell at 4, Matt Olson at 3, Pistol Pete, Polar Bear Pete Alonso at 2, and Freddie Freeman, as you all know, number 1.
Yeah, like the top 2, I knew it was probably going to be the same or close to a flip-flop, but Freddie Freeman, you cannot doubt for that position. So, yeah. So solid. So like we said before, please message us, comment on our photos and stuff.
Yeah,
on
guys, give us
Instagram
some
and Twitter.
feedback.
What do you think? Like, where do you have these guys and these younger guys, especially like we talked about, like Carson Kelly making that step for the catchers? Like, you can definitely tell the younger it's time that they're getting in. So time will tell a lot of these players that they can recreate their sophomore season, their rookie season. So we're weeks away from that beautiful spring training. Pitchers less than 3 weeks now they start reporting because the day after Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
so
man, coming up quick.
Very quick. So yeah, next week we'll do 3 more positions, most likely. Some any news coming up. So y'all have a great time, and we'll catch y'all next time.
Yeah, guys, thanks for listening again. We'll see you guys on next episode.
All right, guys, thank you for checking out this episode. Please share us if you enjoyed this content. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at AA Sports Podcast. Catch y'all next week. Peace.
For the record, I'm done trying to make y'all comfortable. For the record, you ain't trying to grow, then it's done for you. For the record, lab on me going all the way. For the record, ain't trying to link, no time to waste. For the record, for the record, for the record, for the record, for the record. Been a little too nice to y'all. Now I gotta up price on y'all. Snake eyes on dice for y'all. Shoulders on ice for y'all. A6 all the hate. I won't get a ball today. Got lost in the ball and A's. I'm flipping the bars. I'm flipping the on record, off record. I still count wins when they got it. On record, off record. I let them take advantage. Take advantage. Take advantage. Take advantage. Take advantage. Take advantage. Take advantage.